Hey, Mikey.
Hey, Will.
Good to see you this morning, Dave.
You.
All right. So, tell me about the practice.
Okay, so the number one thing we talked about, the number one thing that I wanted to address was my slice.
Okay.
So we came up with some things we were doing right and some things we were doing wrong.
Correct.
So I had 4 things that we wanted to address.
Okay.
The thing I liked about it was that a lot of it was done before the shot thought, so a setup and things like that.
Right.
So the first was my club, the lie angle, was not quite correct.
Correct.
So that was potentially contributing,
Okay.
some.
Okay.
The next thing was I had a weak grip.
Yes.
So we adjusted the grip,
Okay.
and I'm checking that on every shot.
Okay.
Thirdly, we saw in the video that my hips and my shoulders were open to the line.
Okay.
So I've been working on doing that. And that one, by the way, that's probably the hardest because when I'm setting up,
Yeah.
I just feel a little tight.
Well, because the way you've been setting up for such a long time feels
Yes.
natural.
Exactly.
And now that you're setting up square, it feels a little unnatural.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm working
Right.
through it, but I have to check it every time.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Yes. And then lastly, we had some tempo issues we wanted to address.
Right.
And we've been doing that with the orange whip,
Yep.
which has been pretty helpful. And when I follow that, I'm making pretty quality contact. It's a golf game. When I do the right things, it worked real well,
So-
and then I go back to.
So now let's talk a moment about having done all of those things and use the whip in between. If you had a bad swing, you went back to the whip.
Absolutely.
Okay. And how did that work? That kind of got you back into tempo.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because I get going, I'd have the right tempo, and then I would go back and I'd swing from the hips and do whatever, and I'd say, okay, stop. I'd pull up the whip, take a couple swings, and it put me back to where I wanted to
Cool. And now, so let's talk about ball flight a little bit.
Okay.
During the practice and doing these changes that we've talked about,
Yeah.
how did that affect the ball flight?
So
Or did it affect the ball flight?
So yes, it did.
Okay.
And I'm an optimist, and I believe what I saw was true. But I did not have a slice. Been a little